Hey guys, so as you guys know at this point, we do have the worldwide download celebration coming up at the end of this month. I'm recording this video on August 10th. The download celebration typically begins on the 28th or 29th of August. So we are just about, what is that, like less than 3 weeks away from the celebration beginning. We did get leaks today that the celebration theme apparently is the Cooler movie, Cooler's Revenge. So a lot of people definitely very surprised about that. I'm very surprised about that. I'm a huge Cooler fan, obviously. I love that movie. I love that Goku. I'm interested in seeing how they make that into one of the biggest celebrations of the year. But when I heard that that was coming out, this is not official confirmation, by the way. It's 98% gonna happen. But there has not been any official confirmation from like Dokkan or any of their accounts. So there's a slight possibility this is not actually 100% confirmed, but in my mind, I'm viewing this as like 98, 99% confirmation that it is going to be the Cooler's Revenge movie for Worldwide Download Celebration, which is insane. So what I did is, if you guys remember how I did this last year, when it was announced that the Namek Saga was the theme for the 350 million download celebration. We actually don't even know the name of the celebration yet, because 2 years ago it was the worldwide celebration. And then last year it was the 350 million download celebration. I don't know if this is going to be the 400 million download celebration, or if they're just going to call it like the worldwide like cooperative celebration or whatever they called it. I don't remember. But last year when they announced the Namek Saga was the theme of the 350 million download celebration, I went ahead and did concepts for Goku versus Frieza, which obviously was the Dual Dokkan Fest. And if you guys remember, I actually got every single animation correct for Goku and Frieza. Every single animation was correct. You can go back and look. So I was pretty happy about that. That celebration probably will never be topped for me, just because that's my favorite fight in all of Dragon Ball. But the Cooler versus Super Saiyan Goku sort of theme here is very, very good. Probably if I had to choose, that might have been my second choice, right after Kid Goku versus Demon King Piccolo, because that's obviously what I want to see. Probably not super likely, but yeah, I guess I could dream here. But Cooler versus Goku, you're not going to see me complaining about this. I'm really excited for this, and I'm excited to see how they're going to handle this for either the first or second biggest celebration of the year. You can actually argue one way or the other. So next to the anniversary. So what I've done is I've prepared a Word file here with basically my concepts for the characters that we could see. Obviously, it's going to be Goku versus Cooler. Now, we don't know, is it going to be transforming? Are they going to be revival character? Like, we just don't know. Again, it hasn't even officially been confirmed if it actually is going to be the Cooler movie, but again, it seems pretty likely here. So we're going to go ahead and start with my idea for what the Goku could look like, and then we're going to go into Cooler after this. So here we go. This is I love this art. This is like this version of Goku, by the way. I think I even said this last year, because this is technically the same design of Super Saiyan that they used as part of the Namek Saga with the Goku versus Frieza fight. It's like the buffed up version of Super Saiyan, shirtless, all that stuff, like the same hairstyle. Like it's not as like grainy, I guess. I don't know. There's not as many lines going through the hair. I think this is, in my opinion, my favorite Super Saiyan form, just like this original early version of Super Saiyan. Again, it's sort of the same thing as Namek Super Saiyan Goku. So this is going to be staunch defender of Earth Super Saiyan Goku. I actually made him AGL for basically the main reason being that the last main AGL superclass character that we got for like a big headlining celebration like this was UI Goku during the 6th year anniversary. Since then, we haven't really gotten like a really, really dominant, like insanely powerful superclass AGL character. So I think it's about time we go ahead and revisit this typing for this guy. I think he'd work pretty well with the typing there. So let's go ahead and get to leader skill. Leader skill, I gave him the powerful comeback or full power categories key +3, 170% to stats across the board, then an additional 30% to stats for characters who are also in the Pure Saiyan category. Just wanted to make it as easy as possible. Pure Saiyan is obviously like the biggest category, and The additional 30% buff, I just wanted to make it as accessible as possible. Now, what I think is probably going to happen here is they are probably going to be introducing one, if not two, new categories during this celebration. If you guys pay attention to the past like year or two, they've actually, since they've introduced the 200% leader skill meta, for like normal Dokkan Fest TURs, they've stopped introducing new categories every single time that they come out. But for these big celebrations, like for the anniversary, for Tanabata, they do still come out with new categories. So I think for a celebration like this, the worldwide celebration, I do expect them to come out with a new category. But if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't do that, just because I don't think we need more. We have like almost 90 categories in the game at this point. I don't think we need to add any more. I think the categories that we have are pretty sufficient to cover pretty much anything that we can possibly get. But I think Powerful Comeback or Full Power does cover a very wide range of units. And then, of course, adding the Pure Saiyan condition to get the extra 30% I think is fair. So let's go ahead and I'll just quickly show you guys. I've pulled up the tool here. This is courtesy of Dokkan Info. So as you can see, I have Full Power and Power of Revival pulled up as the two categories. And then the additional boost is being given to Pure Saiyans. So basically all the characters you're seeing on the list on the screen right now are characters that are getting the full 200% buff, which, I mean, you know, you can say, oh, it's not as good as like the Trunks and Vegeta leader skill, but I mean, that one's just ridiculous, because like that one's the parent and child bond. That one's like that's like a fan-made category. But we got like Kaioken Goku, we got the Revival Vegeta, we got Namegoku, Tech Gogeta, we got the 6-year anniversary LRs, Kale and Caulifla, all the UI Gokus are on there, Broly's are on there, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Full Power, which eventually we'll get we'll definitely get an LR of him, Blue Kaioken, we get the Evolution Blue Vegetas. Like, this is a decent 200% mix of characters. We got Bardock's as well. So I think this mix and cast of characters definitely would be able to see continuous buffs moving forward as we go through the lifespan of this game. So I'm okay with the way that I've designed this leader skill. I actually I originally had different mixes of categories in there, and this is what I settled on. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the super attack. So the 12 key super attack is going to be the Defender Rush, raises attack and defense for 3 turns and causes colossal damage with a high chance of stun. So here's the thing with this Goku. If you guys go back and rewatch the Cooler's Revenge movie, and you basically focus just on the Super Saiyan Goku versus Final Form Cooler portion of that fight, that is like one of the shortest fights ever, ever in Dragon Ball. Literally, what happens in that, once Goku goes Super Saiyan, from that point forward till the end of the movie, what happens is Goku punches and kicks Cooler one time, and then Goku deflects the supernova, and that's the entire thing. He doesn't do a single other thing, pretty much. Maybe he punches him twice. Maybe it's like 2 punches and 1 kick, and then that's the entire like set of attacks that Goku uses once he's Super Saiyan against Cooler. So what I think they'll probably have to do here is they'll probably have to do one of 2 things. Number one, they could take animations from the base Goku versus the sort of like non-Final Form Cooler portion of the fight, which I think is what I base this 12 key super attack off of. Or they could take Super Saiyan Goku animations from other fights, like the Frieza fight, or maybe like the Metal Cooler fight even, and just give those to Goku. The second thing they could do is they could just create their original animations, right, for these super attacks, just because there's like almost nothing to go off of for the Super Saiyan Goku. I love this Goku design. I think he's like, again, one of my favorite forms for Super Saiyan. Next to him and Namegoku are pretty much the same thing. It's the buff Super Saiyan, the shirtless version. But there's very little that happens. It's the classic Dragon Ball movie ending, where like 99% of the movie is building up to the fight, and then like the hype portion of the fight is like 2 minutes, and then it's over. But basically, let me switch back to Chrome here. What I envision for the 12 key super attack is, by the way, I can't show you guys the actual clips themselves, because I remember specifically doing this last year. I had the clips pulled up on YouTube, and when I actually uploaded the video with the clips that play for each animation, I got copyright claimed. So I don't want to do that again. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys screenshots from the scenes that I'm talking about, and if you want to go and see what I'm talking about, you can just search up the fight on YouTube and rewatch it. And this is the part where I'm explaining here. But This shot right here is basically when Goku and Cooler first start fighting, base Goku versus the non-final form Cooler. Basically, Goku just lunges at him and punches him and then does a combo. That's really what I'm thinking about for his 12 key super attack. But in terms of the actual effect, I have it as raise attack and defense for 3 turns and causes colossal damage with a high chance to stun. So pretty decent effect there. And then the 18 key is going to be the Strike of Golden Fury. Raises defense and causes mega colossal damage, and raises allies attack and defense by 20% for 1 turn. So a lot of defense. That is an infinite stack of defense there. And then the attack and defense to all allies for 1 turn by 20% is going to also, remember, increase his own defense as well. So just a very defensive build in terms of the super attack effects for this unit. Again, the animation is probably just going to be taken from a different era of when Super Saiyan Goku was fighting some other characters, because like there's like almost nothing to go off of here, unfortunately. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the passive, which is obviously going to be the meat of what this guy can do. So the passive is the legendary Guardian. So here's the way I did this. I wanted to build Goku and Cooler to be sort of opposite characters, kind of. They're both able to do pretty much whatever and keep up with current content like Red Zone, stuff like that. But my goal was to make Goku more of a defensive character and to make Cooler, well, not like a glass cannon, but make him a little bit slightly more offense oriented. So let's go ahead and start with the passive for Goku here. So, and the reason why I did that, by the way, is just because of the way that like the movie goes. Like Cooler's the one that shoots the supernova at Goku, and Goku's just defending, right? That's really the way that fight goes. Deflects it back at Cooler, the supernova. So Legendary Guardian activates the entrance animation upon entry once only. So for the entrance animation, obviously you guys know what's coming here, but we gotta go with we gotta go with the transformation. Whether or not they want to put the bird in there, they can do that if they want to, but we gotta at least get like the camera panning up to his head, and then he like lifts his head up and the camera zooms in. This is an iconic shot right here. Like this has to be the entrance animation. There's nothing else it could be. So that's pretty much a shoe-in right there. Activates the entrance animation once only, reveals the location of enemy super attacks, and reduces damage received by 40% for 3 turns from the start of turn. So basically, I did the same thing. You'll see this for Cooler as well, but I want to use the entrance animation effect. So basically, for the first 3 turns of the fight, I want to use that to be able to set up the teams to have their rotations established and to make sure that like we're all set to go towards like the middle and later portions of the fight. So for the first 3 turns, this guy's going to be insane. Like you know what the super attacks are going to be. You have damage reduction, so you're good to go here. Okay, so then he gets attack and defense plus 150% at the start of the fight. That's just a baseline permanent buff. So here's a new sort of key mechanic that I gave to these characters. Both these characters have this. Hopefully I worded it enough to where you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about, but I'm going to describe how it works anyway. Gain additional ki equal to the amount of ki spheres obtained for each ki sphere collected. Now, before I jump in and explain how this works, before we even go further at all, these characters were not designed to be balanced. Okay, these characters are not balanced at all. Given the difficulty of the game at this point, and given the level of characters we've been getting recently, you know, we just got Dokkan Vespan on JP, we got the Father Son Gallic on Vegeta and Trunks, the 7th year LRs, like all these ridiculously, like just insane characters that honestly we need to keep up with content like the Red Zone, where characters are supering you for over 1 million damage. Like you need characters that are broken to help you out. And so that's the reason why I designed these characters to be as good as they are, just because I don't think we're in an era where you need to consider balance anymore. Well, these characters aren't like just absolutely ridiculously absurd. Like they, I think, are very, very good. Well, you guys let me know down below. But the way that this key mechanic works is, let's say you get 4 key spheres. So you collect 4 key spheres, so you gain an additional key equal to the amount of key spheres obtained for each key sphere collected. So you get 4 key spheres. That means you're getting 4 key plus an additional 4 key for that 4th key sphere. Then you're getting an additional 3 key for the 3rd key sphere. Then you're getting an additional 2 key for the 2nd key sphere, and an additional 1 key for the 1st key sphere. So you're getting 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 key. So what is that? 8, 11, 13, 14. You're getting 14 ki for getting 4 ki spheres. Again, it's a very busted ability, and I just wanted to essentially make it so that these characters wouldn't have to worry about ki pretty much ever. And I think that's the mark of what makes summonable LRs these days really good. Like, you know, compare a character like Goku and Piccolo, the physical one, they're pretty good. Like, I wouldn't really call them a bad unit, but the ease at which a character like, for instance, the 7th year LRs have in getting ki versus Goku and Piccolo is really, I think, what sets the 7th year LRs apart from them. Not, you know, counting other abilities, but the ease at which they can super attack and get their extra abilities for having a certain amount of ki, it just makes it way easier to use them. And I sort of wanted to capture that same effect for these characters here that I made. So, all right, so that's that part there. Nullifies Ki Blast super attacks. No, wait, I skipped something here. Nullifies unarmed super attacks directed at this character while in the first slot in a rotation, and nullifies Ki Blast super attacks directed at this character while in the second slot in a rotation. So he's nullifying melee or unarmed attacks in slot 1, and he's nullifying ki-based attacks in slot 2, which is obviously going to be really good considering this guy has a scouter for the first 3 turns. So for the first 3 turns, you're going to be able to basically almost always nullify a super attack, right? Now, the only thing I was sort of thinking about here is, okay, do I nullify the Ki Blast super in slot 1 or slot 2, or do I nullify the unarmed super attack in slot 1, slot 2? I think Ki Blast super attacks are a decent bit more prevalent than unarmed super attacks are. So obviously it would be a little bit better if he nullified Ki Blast super attacks in slot 1 because of how there's 2 slots to get supered there, right? So more often than not, you're going to be supered in slot 1 as opposed to slot 2 or 3. But I decided on doing the unarmed in slot 1 and Ki Blast in slot 2, just because I feel like actually like if he was able to nullify Ki Blast in slot 1, I think it would just be a little bit too good. But this is what I kept it at here. And in terms of the animations for these, I wanted to do this for the unarmed nullification. Obviously, it's just him eating Cooler's Punch with not even flinching. And then for the Ki Blast nullification, it's just going to be him deflecting the supernova at the end. That's pretty basic, you know. It's not really, I don't think anybody is surprised by this here. All right, moving back over here. Next, what do we got? All allies ki +1 per attack received during the turn. So this is another mechanic that I thought would be pretty cool to introduce here. Basically, if this guy gets attacked 3 times in a turn, the whole rest of the rotation plus this character is also going to be getting an additional 3 ki. Basically, what's the easiest way I can describe this? It's like, I believe AGL Super 17 gets 1 ki per attack. No, it's actually like LR Jiren does this as well. LR Jiren gets a ki, 1 ki every time he's hit by an attack. It's basically like that, except instead of just him getting the 1 ki, it's the whole rotation getting extra ki for this. But it only lasts for the turn. So it's not really going to have any effect if this guy's in slot 3. It's going to have a less of an effect if he's in slot 2. But obviously, in order to get the full effect of this, you want him to be in slot 1. So I feel like this could be a pretty cool effect to have. Then he gains an additional attack and defense plus 100% and performs an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack when performing an ultra super attack if ki is 24. And again, it's going to be very, very easy for this guy to get the 24 ki, just depending on, you basically only need like 4 ki spheres for this guy to get 24 ki because of that ki mechanic that I put in there. So that's pretty much what we have for the passive for this guy. Active skill is the Earth Guardian Blast. So in order to illustrate this better, I pretty much am just going to be copying the Legends animation. So I'm just going to quickly show this here. If we go back over here, I pulled up a portion of my video where I did this in Legends. So basically it's the same thing here. So, you know, he's punching, does this thing. He punches and kicks Vegeta a little bit. And then he does like the 2-handed Kamehameha Blast or whatever this is. That's basically what I'm envisioning for the active skill in Dokkan, but obviously it's going to be a little bit more grand because Dokkan has a lot more leeway to play with the timing for these animations. So that's what the animation is going to look like for that, the Earth Guardian Blast. Same name they use in Legends as well, so I don't really know why they change it. The condition can be activated after an enemy has launched a super attack or if HP is 30% or below. Your HP is 30% or below, once only. I think that could be a pretty cool active skill condition. The enemy super attacking is not really that uncommon of a thing, right? I mean, how many times do you get super turn 1? So it's going to be not that hard to activate. The earliest you can activate this is turn 2, right? In a fight. If turn 1, the enemy supers you, and you have this Goku on turn 2, you can activate this active skill if you want to. But if the enemy, let's say you're just completely blitzing through the event and the enemy just doesn't get a chance to super, then you'll still be able to use it if your HP is 30% or below. And then the effect is greatly raised attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage to the enemy and gains a high chance to perform a critical hit for 1 turn, and also recovers 59% HP. So I sort of sacrifice the damage a little bit off of this, because typically these days you see like guaranteed crits and then all your attacks become crits for the turn, and then like all these damage related buffs. But again, my goal with this character is to make him more of a utility / defensive character. So I added the heal in there as well, which I think there's no character I don't believe in the game right now that does an attack that also heals. So that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, pretty much, if you look at what this character is doing, I don't really think he's going to be like setting damage records or anything like that. But in terms of his utility and defense and what he's providing to the team, I think I'm pretty happy with how I was able to design him. So I don't think he's too broken. Obviously insanely good, but yeah, that's the Goku there. Let's move on to Cooler. Actually, let's take a look at the links, I guess. I pretty much just copy and pasted the links that I used, that they use for Int Namek Goku, because I don't really see a difference. I don't ever see a reason why you'd have a different link set than him. So Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Golden Warrior, Experienced Fighters, Prepare for Battle, Fierce Battle. Oh yeah, the one thing I did change was Kamehameha, because obviously this guy doesn't do the Kamehameha in my thing here, so I changed that to Experienced Fighters. I think it's a fair change there. And then categories, he's on a ton of categories. I'm not going to read through them all, but yeah, this is where he's at right here. All right, so moving on to Cooler. So for Cooler, I went with Int. And the reason why I went with Int for Cooler is because the two best characters on the Wicked Bloodline setup are AGL. You have LR Full Power Frieza and you have LR Golden Frieza, both AGL characters who are obviously going to be weak to tech characters. So if you're fighting a tech character with your Wicked Bloodline team transformation, your Wicked Bloodline setup, right? That's where you're going to want to run these Wicked Bloodline characters on the Wicked Bloodline setup, obviously. Assuming you use this guy as a leader, and you're going to have one Cooler on each rotation, and then the rotations are going to be Cooler, Full Power Frieza, and then Cooler and Golden Frieza. That's pretty much what the setup I imagine being here is. So you having one AGL character on each rotation and then you have an Int character on each rotation to cover their weakness to tech. So the slot where the tech enemy is attacking, you just put this Cooler there, right? Wherever there's more tech attacks, you put this Cooler there. And also, I just feel like there's not that many good Int Wicked Bloodline characters, just period, right? Who's the best Int Wicked Bloodline character? Is it like third form Frieza? LR Metal Cooler that just got 3Z and JP? Like, there's not that many good Int characters for Wicked Bloodline right now, so that's why I went with Int for him. Leader skill is going to be Transformation Boost or Movie Bosses. I think we definitely need a Movie Bosses character to sort of pop into the 200% leader skill meta here. So obviously 3 key, 170% of stats across the board. Then he gives an additional 30% of stats for characters in the Terrifying Conquerors category. Now, I actually thought about this for a while. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this. At the end of the day, you're going to want to pair this guy up with other Wicked Bloodline units just because of the way his links work, right? But I think it's also pretty important to get other movie bosses involved as well. So let me quickly go back to Chrome. Oops, that's the wrong thing. All right, there we go. All right, so this is basically the setup that Cooler is going to be using. Obviously, we have movie bosses, Transformation Boost, and then Terrifying Conquerors as the extra 30% buff there. So it's essentially, just the Wicked Bloodline characters. We got Golden Frieza, we got the Full Power Frieza, LR STR Full Power Frieza. We got Baby in there actually. So at some point, sooner rather than later, I think, hopefully, we're going to be getting either. Hopefully it's Dokkan Fest. At Dokkan Fest, baby, transforming Super Baby 1 or whatever it is. So he'll have a 200% home on this team. All the versions of Frieza, first form Mecha Frieza, Garlic Jr. is on here. We got Bojack as well. So I think this does cover a decent amount of characters. We have like CLS from Heroes on here. We have, what is that? Baby Janemba is here as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a decent variety of units here. It's not like it's insanely big, but just the 170 portion, all the movie bosses and then all transformation boost characters. That's a big roster. Remember, this is just the 200% characters. And I think as long as we're getting the AGL Full Power Frieza and the AGL Golden Frieza under this as part of the 200%, those are going to be your main rotations for this cooler. So that alone is probably good enough. And then remember, if this is actually the cooler movie here for the celebration, it's possible this guy gets an easy A. This STR cooler. Can you imagine this STR cooler getting an easy A? That would just be ridiculous. All right, let's go back to the concept here. So if you scroll down to the super attacks here, the 12 key is going to be the Death Chaser, raises attack and defense for 3 turns and causes colossal damage. So in terms of the animation, again, that's tough to really imagine this in your head, but this is pretty much the last attack that Cooler does to base form Goku before base form Goku transforms. Basically just him crushing him into the rock with his foot and then just like, sort of like pushing him consistently like down into the rock a few times. Not a crazy animation. They'll probably have to add a little bit of extra stuff to that, I think. And then in terms of the 18 key animation, that is going to be the Death Breaker, which raises attack and defense. So that's a permanent stack and causes mega colossal damage with a great chance to stun. So a 70% chance to stun. The reason why I gave it a 70% chance to stun is because this is going to be this scene over here. If you guys remember this is actually, I think, one of the first attacks that Final Form Cooler does to base form Goku. He basically like kicks him into a rock and then like overhead smashes him down into like the water. And this portion right here, this is like the end of the attack. He literally like dive bombs into Goku and just like pushes all the water to the sides. And this is the end of the attack right here. So that I think could be a cool 18 key super right there. Obviously Goku's just like out cold pretty much. So it's a guaranteed, or not a guaranteed, a great chance to stun. All right, going back to the passive now. So the passive is I am the strongest in the universe. Activates the entrance animation upon entry once only, which, as you guys can probably imagine by the name, it is going to be this right here. Basically, when base form Goku is just out, like he's done, and Cooler is just like destroying the Earth. Like he's like flexing, and the Earth is just like destroying itself or something like that. It's Blue Cooler's green card from Legends. That's essentially what this entrance animation is going to be. And then I assume they're probably going to add like a line or something, and then that's the entrance animation. That could be a cool thing. I think that's good enough. All right, moving back to the passive here. Perform critical hits and gain a great chance to evade enemy attacks for 3 turns from the start of turn. So he has a 100% chance to perform critical hits, and he has a 70% chance to dodge for 3 turns from the entrance animation being active here. So for the first 3 turns, he's insane. That's just the way this is. And the main reason why I decided to do this is because I think it's really important to make sure that the AGL Full Power Frieza has enough time to stack his defense. I think once you're able to get like 2 stacks with AGL Full Power Frieza, he's good enough to be able to start tanking some, mid-level red zone bosses. I don't really think it's optimal, I would say, I guess is the correct word for this, to really put him in slot 1 early on in the fight before he's had a chance to stack. I think it's not really a good strategy. So that's really the reason why I did this. You want to give that Frieza enough time to stack in slot 2 with the 18 key super attack. So this cooler is going to be going in slot 1. Attack and defense plus 150% start of turn. Again, it's the same baseline buff that Goku got. Gain additional key equal to the amount of key spheres obtained for each key sphere collected. The same exact mechanic that it gave to the Goku. Again, I think it's probably just ridiculously overpowered, but I just didn't want these guys to have to deal with key issues. Great chance of evading enemies' Ki Blast super attack and countering with tremendous power. So this is basically the same exact mechanic that the Exchange Goku and Gohan has, the Gohan version, where he counters the Ki Blast super attack. It's a 70% chance to counter it. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to make this a guaranteed I probably, yeah, I guess you could make it a guaranteed, maybe. Yeah, the only difference between this and the Gohan one is you have to actually get Gohan out for that to actually work, right? Cooler is just here, turn 1. Turn 1, you can do this, right? That's the major difference. Then he gains an additional attack and defense plus 80% when performing an ultra super attack if there is another wicked bloodline category ally on the team, which is very easy to do, not really an issue there. And then he launches 2 additional attacks, each of which has a rare chance of becoming a super attack. And I base this off of AGL Evolution Blue Vegeta ZZA, the AGL, Tournament of Power AGL Blue Vegeta that transforms into Evolution Blue Vegeta. That is a 15% chance for those additional attacks to become super attacks, which I think is not overpowered enough to the point where it's just like, what is this, right? It's very good, right? And especially because it gives you an extra chance for this guy to just do additional attacks from the hidden potential system. And honestly, just because of the way that this guy's built, his additional normals could be hitting pretty hard as well. But just, I feel like this kind of design is fun for me because you at least know you have a chance to do like 5 supers or something in a turn, right? So it's just fun to use that, and like a roulette style character. I always compare this to like physical Vegito Blue when he came out back in the day, and when he got his ZZA, it's like, okay, how many supers is he going to do for us this turn? So it's always fun to just like anticipate that. His active skill is going to be the Supernova. The condition can be activated when HP is 50% or below, or if there is a Pure Saiyan category enemy and 3 or more turns have elapsed. So HP is being 50% or below is not that bad of a condition, considering how tough content is these days. But if you aren't able to get that condition fulfilled, then you also have the secondary condition of there being a Pure Saiyan category enemy and then 3 or more turns of elapse, which is not hard at all. So, and then the effect is massively raises attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage to enemy, and all attacks become critical hits for 1 turn. And then he raises allies' attack by 20% for 1 turn. So he's going to make your whole like the turn you use this active skill, the enemy's dead. Like there's really nothing that's going to live this. Even like final form Broly, right? Think about how much damage this is going to do. It's because it's this plus like full power Frieza. Imagine if he has, because I guess that wouldn't be able to use it. I was thinking like, okay, you use his active skill and then full power Frieza can use his active skill, right? But Broly is an extreme class unit. But this character plus the AGL full power Frieza together, the turn you use this active skill, like pretty much anything is just dead. And then in terms of links, we have strongest clan in space, Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, Brutal Beatdown. Oh, what I did was I just copy and pasted STR Cooler's links. I got to change something for Legendary Power. I guess we will change. What's the worst link on here? Is it Brutal Beatdown? Probably. I'm gonna change this to Legendary Power. And I guess we'll just move this down here. All right, so that's what his links is going to be. Strongest clan in space, Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, Metamorphosis, Universe's Most Malevolent, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. That's what we'll do. Categories: Movie Bosses, Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Final Trump Card, Space Traveling Warriors, Planetary Destruction. So that's pretty much what we got for my concept for these characters. Let me know down below what you guys think about the theme being the Cooler movie. Again, it's like 98% confirmed, but there's a slight possibility that it's, someone like just fooled the whole community, I guess. But again, we're waiting on the official confirmation here, but these are my... Oh yeah, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to... Hold on a second. What did I forget to do here? Forgot to show you guys these real quick. I mean, it's not really that important because I'm sure you guys can imagine this, but this is going to be the Cooler nullification animation, obviously. It's him flying through the Kamehameha and hitting Goku. And then the active skill is the Supernova, which is just the Supernova, right? We actually don't have like a good animation for the Supernova in the game. The only Supernova we have is, for Final Form Cooler, is the physical one, right? And then we have like the really old ones, like from like 2015 that are like super bad quality. So to finally see a good supernova is gonna be pretty hype, I think. So again, let me know down below what you guys think about these concepts, as well as your overall thoughts on the download celebration this year being the Cooler's Revenge movie. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.